This achievement also reveals one of Mr. Ovia's most enduring characteristics: to conquer your fears and pursue your dreams. I must confess that when I joined him as a pioneer staff of Zenith Bank on July the 16th, 1990, I was not quite sure how we could compete in the midst of 130 other banks, let alone survive, in a field which had dominant and durable players that had been providing banking services in Nigeria before some of us were born. But our visionary leader, Mr. Ovia, was not deterred. He knew that regardless of how good people thought these banks were performing, he could create a niche and provide superior products and services. He believed that if we leverage on technology in providing quick and efficient service to customers, that these steps would shape how successful the bank would become, rather than whether we operate in the midst of giants. His ambitions were well beyond his limited resources at the time he started Zenith Bank, but he remained consistent in his commitment to excellence, and I can say with all authority that eventually paid off. Another important quality which I believe readers and aspiring entrepreneurs can gain from this book and Mr. Ovia's story is the fact that it is not wrong to set your sights high. From the first day of tutelage under him, it became apparent to me that he was not thinking of just being a great and a big Nigerian banker, but a great and big global bank. And that regardless of the daunting challenges of the Nigerian business environment at the time, he consistently strove to benchmark his operations with successful businesses in other parts of the world. In fact, it was not enough for him to be the best amongst his peers in Nigeria. He strove to be counted amongst the best in Africa and indeed the world. We benefited from these insights, courage and focus and foresight, as he set very high standards for us, sometimes difficult to achieve. But he always put at the back of our minds that we have every tool we needed, not only to achieve, but also to surpass these targets. I believe that in order for us to truly harness the vast opportunities available for entrepreneurs in Africa, the role of the public sector cannot be ignored. Governments can foster an enabling environment under which entrepreneurs can grow and expand their operations. We are all aware of how research, supported by United States government, enabled the development of the internet, the global positioning system GPS, and the search engine. Without the support of government, we may never have seen the emergence of entrepreneurs who created global brands such as Facebook, Google, Yahoo, and Amazon. It is in this context that I commend His Excellency President Buhari for some of the steps the government has taken to support the growth of entrepreneurs in Nigeria. Through his worthy efforts, the government developed the ERGP, which is aimed at catalyzing growth in critical sectors of the economy. The Economic Recovery and Growth Plan is anchored on the premise that the private sector is the engine of growth and development. With a focus on the SMEs, agriculture, power, and infrastructure, the government has implemented a series of steps that is helping to support the growth of entrepreneurs in Nigeria. Another key constraint the government is addressing is improving access to finance to the SMEs. In November 2015, President Muhammadu Buhari launched the Anchor Bua program, which is aimed at providing single-digit interest loans to smallholder farmers without collateral. The implementation of this laudable program has supported improved growth in the agricultural sector and has helped in building new agropreneurs in Nigeria, particularly in our rural communities. A related takeaway from setting his sights high is that perhaps Mr. Ovia, his greatest contribution to the banking sector and to Nigeria in general, will be his efforts at improving the perception of the capabilities of Nigerian banks. Today, the intermediation tools that financial institutions are utilizing in developing markets can be obtained in Nigeria because people like him sought to benchmark themselves with financial institutions in other parts of the world. Mr. Ovia also understood that in order for business to grow, creating and developing the capacity of the workforce was critical. He set his sights on recruiting the best that he could find and in making sure that they were creative in their thinking, as he believed innovation is an important quality that was indeed in order to accomplish great things. He also set very high standards and expectations for all his staff. In fact, at any time, Mr. Ovia was interviewing somebody for a job or gave someone an assignment, he will just ask, "I hope you can do this." In a bid to impress him, some persons will immediately say, "Yes, sir. In fact, I will surpass your expectations." Mr. Ovia would immediately gently and firmly retort, "You don't need to surpass my expectations, just meet them." This is because Mr. Ovia's expectations were already way too high for many people to meet. Another important takeaway, which the book reveals, is his strong belief in giving back to his community in particular and to the larger society. For example, on account of Mr. Ovia's generosity, the street that houses Zenith Bank's headquarters can easily be labeled the most beautiful street in Nigeria during the Yuletide season. In addition to very many other things he has done for his community, I believe that his crowning achievement could be the establishment of James Hope College, Agbo, which, without a doubt, in my mind, is one of the best secondary schools in Nigeria today. With his philosophy of affordable excellence, Mr. Ovia single-handedly built and equipped this all-boarding school with the goal of not only ensuring that the highest quality of education is available and affordable for those who can pay, but that those who cannot pay will also not be deprived of the same quality of education. It is a remarkable education model that is already yielding bountiful results, as students from this college have consistently scored 100% in science, in mathematics and English for the Cambridge checkpoint examinations. Indeed, on the basis of his legendary philanthropy to his community in particular and others in general, Mr. Ovia has set a very high bar for many of us to follow. As leaders in the public and private sector, this is one quality we should strive to emulate. If we all contribute in our little way to support our respective communities, either through supporting improvements in education, healthcare, or in capacity building, we will be sowing seeds of greatness that could help in taking Nigeria even to enviable heights. In conclusion, let me note that this book is much more than just an autobiography. Africa, Rise and Shine is a must-read for everyone. It has something in store from young students to policymakers and from budding entrepreneurs to for sophisticated investors. I trust everyone will find Africa, Rise and Shine to be a useful guide in whatever they are pursuing in life, as Mr. Ovia's life story and his book's central message is compelling and pertinent for a vast majority of people. I thank you for listening.